Alright, so I went and watched Amazing Spider-Man Part 2 last night. Actually went to the comic book shop and the one they have around here, and Daryl, who's in the Tales of the D&J Hobby Shop videos on my channel here, had helped put up a display comic book theme of Spider-Man for the theater, and he was getting in free. Now, I wasn't going to go see this movie. You can go back and look at my review of the first Amazing Spider-Man. You know, the one where the lizard was you know, our bad guy, if you will. And in that video, when I did that review, I lost like something like 12 to 15 subscribers and stuff, and you know, it's quite a video that got quite an emotional response out of people, and I was just being honest. I never expected that to happen. So what happens is I go to work, and there's somebody talking about seeing the Amazing Spider-Man Thursday night, and huge Spider-Man fan. He loved the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, and he absolutely hated this one, and he was really wanting me to go see it to see what my opinion would be. So I keep hearing how bad this thing is. I see it on the internet, and everybody's just like hating this one. I felt kind of vindicated for not liking the first one. But it was talked about so bad I had to know. So the comic book shop ended up hanging out there talking and stuff, went out, got some dinner, and then it was time for the movie to, you know, close to start in town. So I go on down there. When we get down there, everyone that showed up with the with Daryl, who owns the comic book shop, and they got in free. So I got to see this movie free. And by God, if I'm going to see it free, they got me a little popcorn. And that's exactly what you need with this movie, because that's all it is a popcorn movie. Alright? So I go in there, and I had this expectation that it's going to be bad, but I'm still kind of like open-minded. And the movie starts out, and right off the bat, you know, we're having a flashback to Peter's mom and dad while they're taking off. And, you know, to do mild spoilers and stuff, the very first scene is actually kind of boring. They had apparently, I don't know what it was, 10, 12 years ago, you know, they had Wi-Fi on a plane. Because the whole point of this is that he is trying to download or send some information on his scientific genetic testing, you know, that he's trying to hide from Oscorp or something. And this assassin comes out, and he's all smiles and stuff. You don't know he's an assassin. It's like a pilot, and he has blood on his hands where he's washing his hands. And it was just like this fight scene between Peter's dad and this assassin who was completely incompetent while the plane is getting ready to crash. And he's just trying to download some files, and I don't know what to say. You're just kind of like, okay, what was that? You know, it was really bad. But then again, you know, we go right into the action and stuff. Right off the bat, all the things about Spider-Man in this and his costume and the way he was bouncing around, this is where I started actually enjoying myself, but not for a good reason. Not because this is a great movie. I've said from the get-go with the trailer and the costume and how bright it is, and how the computer animation is, the CGI for, you know, all the fight scenes and the effects and stuff. I mean, they had some fun with it, but it was like watching a video game. This thing was horrible for a movie, and the movie trailers for it were horrible. But they were just, you know, they were pretty good if this was a video game for a PlayStation 2. You know, we'll go there. So I'm watching this thing, and it's kind of fun. And I'm sitting here, I'm starting to pick up on stuff, and there's a graduation going on, and we go on through the movie, and I'm finding myself like getting back, and I'm eating my popcorn, and I'm kind of liking this, and I'm kind of like biting my nails, and I'm like, oh my god, I know what's happened here. And what they've done is, you know, they've added a lot of camp to it. Now, they don't go all the way with intentional camp like they did in Batman, but it's there in Spider-Man. I started getting this feeling where I had the feeling that Mark Webb was just like, fuck it, you know, we're just going to make this movie. And that's the tone through the whole movie. It's just check your brain at the door, get you some popcorn, and just watch this thing, because it's kind of fun like that. Yes, you can pick this thing apart. Yes, some of this stuff was just downright stupid. Yet it had one thing going for it. Just one thing. Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. With the first movie, of Amazing Spider-Man. I didn't feel the chemistry. I felt like the dialogue was horrible. I went through it and stuff. I don't see how these two even got together because they barely finished sentences. And I can go with the the romantic part where a few people don't have to speak sometimes, and no, there was nothing there in that first one. This one, Emma Stone really is the one that brought it back. I mean, a lot of people want to give Garfield a lot of credit, but Emma Stone is the one that made some of that the thread, the story, the love story going through it. To me, she's the one that really made this feel real. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, kudos. And after giving Emma Stone props there, no actor really did a bad job in this movie. Okay, it's kind of like everybody did the best with what they had. Everybody sort of got their moment, and everybody had some lines that just weren't needed. And so now we'll go into the villains here. Now another thing about this movie that cracks me up is that it really does owe a lot to Batman. Okay, it owes a lot to Batman. We're gonna go with Batman Forever. Okay, that was I believe the first movie of the Batman series from the late 80s and up to into the 90s. And the third movie was Batman Forever. And that's the one that Tim Burton was finally off, and I think it was Joel Schumacher that jumped on there, and Val Kilmer was Batman, and Jim Carrey was the Riddler, and we had Two-Face in it. And and that's what kind of got me, because the irony here is that Electro in this movie is played by Jamie Foxx, and Riddler was played by Jim Carrey, and they were both part of a show called In Living Color, back in the day on Fox. Funny little half-hour sketch comedy show. And apparently, those humble beginnings come all the way to now, to where, those two characters really kind of matched in this. The writers or somebody of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 really pulled a lot out of those Batman movies. The campiness that starts showing up in Batman Forever. And yet this one felt like the Batman and Robin of the Spider-Man series. It really did, because, I don't know, it's just, but it wasn't really torture watching this. That's what was so funny. A lot of eye rolling, some of the dialogue that got you. But the characters that, Jim Carrey and Jamie Foxx played, a lot of similarities. I'm like, this is not an accident. This is not a coincidence. And then towards the end, there's another fight scene with the Goblin and Spider-Man, and Gwen's there, and they're in a freaking clock tower or something. And I'm sitting here thinking, if Batman, Michael Keaton Batman, and Jack Nicholson Joker weren't fighting upstairs, they could probably help, Spider-Man fight the Goblin and protect Gwen a little bit there, because it felt like they were in the same place. I'm like, this is, I'm starting to get the joke, again, And that was the biggest thing, and I could chuckle. I kind of enjoyed the movie, but not for the good reason. It's a good, bad movie. What was the good, badness thing, the stuff in there? Little things that they added to the campiness. You might have had the Bat Cave and the Batmobile and everything labeled and stuff, but Spider-Man's ringtone was the Spider-Man cartoon show theme song from the 60s. There's a part where Electro and Spider-Man are fighting, and they're at a grid that makes electricity, and every time Spider-Man hits a part of the grid, it's playing the Itsy Bitsy Spider, and he yells, I hate that song, because it went up the water spout and washed out and stuff. I don't know. And then there's a line that Leonardo DiCaprio played. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not Leonardo DiCaprio, but they got this kid, and I think his name's Dane. He was in a Metallica movie not too long ago, but he's the spitting image of Leonardo DiCaprio 20 years ago. So there are parts of this movie that, I felt like I was watching Leonardo DiCaprio. Like I said, all the actors did a good job. I can't slam a one of them, man, but they grabbed this kid because they thought they had a young DiCaprio, and he's playing, an Osbourne, But anyway, there's a part where he wants Spider-Man's blood. He's got this virus, this genetic disease, and he wants Spider-Man's blood because it has healing factors in it. Don't know how he knows this. He just rolls into town. And Spider-Man actually shows up, won't give him his blood. It's too dangerous. It's radioactive and all this stuff. And as he's flying off, it's like some really bad villain monologue that, should have had more of a punch if they had the right words. And he's like, Spider-Man, you're a fraud. And I'm just kind of like, whoa. Spider-Man, you're a fraud. You know, I might title this review that. And that was other stuff with the stories. There's just so much you can take apart in this movie. But where the first one was just a god-awful film, a god-awful movie. I mean, structure-wise, soundtrack-wise, everything, dialogue-wise. This one, you know, this could get the Mystery Science Theater treatment and have some fun with it. That's what got me. I was just like, it was a fun movie to watch, even though you're just face palming it left and right here. You know, like, oh my god. His web shooters blow up if there's electricity. Apparently they're battery powered. But apparently electricity doesn't carry heat. He never got burned from any of this and some of the stuff. I mean, oh my god. First of all, the movie was way too long. It really was. 2 hours, 20 minutes, 2.5 hours, I don't know. It was a really long movie. They stuffed it with 3 villains. And that was just kind of weird with the pacing and stuff, you know. But like I said, just check your head at the door. Really wasn't about Electro. Really wasn't about the Green Goblin. And when the Rhino pops up at the end of it, you know, that was just, they should have quit while they were ahead, is all I got to say. You know? And then, speaking of Electro and stuff, he got blue skin. And going into this, it really bothered me because Electro is Max Dillon, a guy who I always saw was just some guy from Brooklyn who was just a working Joe who got electrocuted while on the job on some power lines. I think lightning hit the power lines or something while he was up there in a transformer, and he got some powers, you know, electro powers, you know, bright yellow and green costume. And this one, it's Jamie Foxx. His name's, you know, it's Max Dillon, and it's almost like he was set up, but basically he gets electrocuted while everybody has left work and nobody wants to help him while he fixes some things in this lab. And he gets electrocuted and he falls into a big vat of electric eels and gets bit. Spider-Man got bit by a radioactive spider. Max Dillon apparently gets bit by genetically altered electric eels, I guess. And he gets his big rebirth. And then he gets captured. And then he turns around and finds out he has these other powers where he can dissipate whatever into electricity and then reform. And all of a sudden, where he is blue, you know, we get some Watchmen in there. They gave him they started turning him into Dr. Manhattan, minus blue penis. Oh man, I was going to be serious in this and just get through it and stuff, but oh my god, I don't know if I can. I mean, it's just such a bad movie. Oh man, I mean, I could laugh watching this thing, you know, just, oh my god. Oh, I might quit there, but I can go on and on. But the movie ends, it has one ending, and then we get another ending, and Osbourne that comes in, you know, Leonardo, played by Leonardo there, not to get all over the place. Now, he becomes the Green Goblin. You know, it's what they're going for, you know. And what's amazing is that we have airplanes 10 years ago with Wi-Fi and, you know, internet connections and stuff or whatever. Yet, Peter and Leo, all of a sudden, they were like best friends. They haven't talked in 10 years. Apparently, they don't have email. You know, one got shipped off to boarding school. Peter went to his aunt's. But since, you know, his Harry's dad died, Osbourne there died, you know, Peter wants to come check on him after 10 years. And they're best friends and they're best buddies. And all of a sudden, they're having these heart-to-heart talks like nothing's happened. And nobody, not even Gwen or anybody's like, who? What? You're kidding me. You know, it just makes no sense. They just pick up, you know, so you just go with it, you know. But they're best friends. So, you know, mortal enemies have to be best friends, you know. Even though they didn't even keep up with it. And I'm going to tell you, man, Peter Parker in this movie, that was the thing about the movie. I think one of the reasons I was able to enjoy it is that I completely did not see Peter Parker. I did not see Gwen Stacy. I did not see the Green Goblin. I did not see Aunt May. I saw Sally Field. I saw Andrew Garfield. I saw Emma Stone. And I saw Leonardo. Wait a minute, Dane. You know, so after you let go with that, because, you know, in the comic books, the character of Peter Parker is a science nerd who had no friends, not some cool skater running around. Yeah. You know, none of the characters, I mean, it's kind of, I think that's what happened. You just kind of let go to the characters and stuff, you know. I mean, this one, Peter Parker's a New Yorker, you know. He's got the New York accent and some of that attitude and always got to come back and stuff. And all that was supposed to be saved for when he's in the Spider-Man costume. That's what happens. Peter Parker transforms personality-wise and gets confident and lets loose and, you know, has no inhibitions. And they missed that. They missed the mark. So basically, man, go to this thing and just laugh because it's a good bad movie. A good bad movie. If you're a movie buff, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's so bad, it's kind of fun to watch. But I'm putting it in the vein of this. If this is like 10 on the camp scale, I'm putting Spider-Man up there around 7.5. All he needs is a spider cave and a sidekick. And it's got some sad moments and stuff. And then there's one scene, I'm going to get to the end there, where for one reason, I'm not going to spoil the big thing, he quits being Spider-Man for like 5 months. This is like the third ending of the film. And so all of a sudden the Rhino's out there, and everybody's still talking about where's Spider-Man, and it's been 5 minutes. And the Rhino is this great big huge mechanized tank thing, that looks ridiculous. I don't know if they're trying to tap, Transformers or what. And you can see Paul Giamatti's head in this thing, like in the chest area, so he can see. It's kind of like he's running the thing from inside, and he's running his mouth, and he's fighting cops, and he won't let any cops come out to help and stuff. And this one little bitty kid comes out of the crowd, and he puts on a Spider-Man mask because he just happens to be dressed as Spider-Man walking around town, with his mom, and she's letting him do this, and it's not Halloween, and he's face to face. This little bitty boy dressed as Spider-Man is face to face with Rhino. The Rhino's just laughing and stuff. People try to get out there to get the kid, and Rhino's shooting the cop cars and stuff. For some reason, they can't have the kid. I don't know what he's doing. So Spider-Man makes his big comeback, and he sick bones the kid, and like, thanks a lot, man, and all this stuff. And he has this big long talk with this kid about, why don't you let me take this? Why don't you go protect your mom? And thanks for holding things. I think all this stuff. And the Rhino's just standing there. All these cops, all these people are just standing there. Apparently, the Rhino's not such a sadistic, killer that he just kind of lets Spider-Man sit there and talks to him. I would have took a shot at Spider-Man while he's looking at the kid. Pow. He doesn't know he has spider sense, and apparently spider sense barely, really works in the movie half the time. Oh my God, it was just so bad. And then it, ends with Spider-Man's back, and he's going to go nose-to-nose the Rhino, and it ends right there. What a waste of Paul Giamatti, man. He's a great actor. And that was another thing. There's some stereotyping going on. I don't know what the hell is going on, but I need to look up and see who these people are and stuff. But I forgot that the Rhino was Russian in the comic books. He's stuck in this skin-tight costume and Rhino powers, and sort of a tragic figure. In this one, he's just some gangster, serious, killer, that with a shaved head and a tattoo of barbed wire going across his forehead. He just happens to become Rhino. And he's got like this really bad Russian accent, I think, almost stereotypical of the 60s or something. It sounds like Boris and Natasha talking to each other, and goes back to the camp of it. But the other campy part of it was there's a scientist that was working on, doing some stuff with Black Lightning. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a DC character. With, what's his name, Electro in this, And it's got a German accent and white lab coat, gelled up hair, lipstick, rouge. I think he has some eyeliner. And he's talking in a German accent like he was some old Nazi German evil scientist or something. And my buddy said he is a scientist that is in the Spider-Man comics somewhere. So, that one's over Howlermouse's head. So, with this 2014 starting out with the superhero movies, we've had Captain America and we've had Spider-Man. Go see Captain America. Rent Spider-Man with some of your friends and laugh. At an unintentionally unironic, campy, spectacular. It doesn't make it to amazing in my book, but I'll give it a little spectacular because I enjoyed it. But for all the wrong reasons, That's my review.